Now, I don't know if you saw it, but last Tuesday was a full moon. It was the first full moon in spring. And every full moon throughout the year have got a name associated with it. And these full moon names are seasonal markers that reflect what's going on in nature at that time of year. Long before calendars were standardised, people used to use natural cycles to keep track of the passing of time. And so they used to name the full moons in accordance to what they observed around them and to help them plan for things that are coming up. The full moon that's just gone was called the worm moon. And this moon was traditionally for observing the landscape, taking stock after winter, and for planning a growing season ahead. It's called the worm moon because it marks the time when the ground is starting to warm up and the earthworms and all the other invertebrates are starting to emerge. So this week it's all about, you guessed it, donkeys. Only joking, it's about earthworms. So did you know that in the UK we have about 31 different species of earthworm, and they are mainly grouped into three main groups, which are the surface dwellers, the topsoil dwellers, and then the deep burrowers. Now each of these groups provide different ecological services, and for a healthy soil ecosystem you need all three of those groups. Now the earthworm we're probably most familiar with is the common earthworm, Lumbricus terrestris, and they are our biggest earthworm, averaging about 15 centimetres long. But the biggest ever recorded in UK was an earthworm lovingly called Dave, and that reached a length of 40 centimetres. Now you think that's big? There are earthworms in Australia that blow Dave right out of the soil, and they're called Gippsland earthworms, and they are the biggest species of earthworm in the world. They average around a metre long, and they can get up to 3 metres. But even that is not even half the length of the biggest earthworm in the entire world. The Guinness World Record for the biggest worm in the entire world is a African giant earthworm from South Africa, and that was measuring in, get this, 6.7 metres. That's 21 feet. Bloody hell for an earthworm! Anyway, back to Blighty. The common earthworm averages about 15 centimetres long when it's mature, and it can live up to 8 years. Now the common earthworm belongs to the deep burrowing group. They live in permanent vertical burrows that can be 2 metres deep. They generally come out at night, and they come up and they grab hold of the leaf litter and pull it down, deep down into their burrows. They then wait for fungi to break down the leaves, and then they eat the remaining mixture before depositing their digested microbial rich poo casts back up to the surface. This redistribution of leaf litter by earthworms is what brings the carbon rich organic matter deep down into the deep soil. And because they build their burrows with a special kind of mucus, when they move or when they die, their burrows stay there for years later, and this allows for water to seep down, and also it gives opportunity for plant roots to get down into what is sometimes very compacted soil. So then we've got the topsoil dwellers. Now these are the earthworms that live in the top 50 centimetres of the soil. These earthworms are smaller in size, generally paler in colour, and they burrow horizontally. Now these guys rarely come to the surface, so you probably won't see them unless you're digging in a garden. And they eat as they go. They travel through the soil, eating organic matter, small invertebrates sometimes, and even the soil itself. So their movement, the soil disturbance and horizontal burrows helps with water distribution and air movement in the topsoil itself. Also, the gut of a worm is full of microorganisms, so the soil coming out of a worm is a lot richer in microbes than that going in, making them literally like living soil improvers. There's actually a really cool top dwelling earthworm to look out for if you get a chance. It's called Alola Bophra chlorotica. I think that's how you pronounce it. Common name is green worm, because this worm's got a pigment in the body wall that gives it a green coloration. And then there's the surface dwelling earthworms. Now these guys, they don't make burrows. They mooch about in leaf litter, in old rotting logs, and in animal dung. Now these ones are crucial in kick-starting the process of turning dead plant matter into soil. But these ones are a bit darker in coloration. That dark pigment helps protect them from the sun, but it also helps them to be a bit more camouflage. As is the story with a lot of our wildlife species, earthworms have seen a drastic decline. The UK's national assessment that was released back in 2023 showed that a third of earthworms in the UK have been wiped out in the last 25 years. And that's mainly due to intensive farming, using pesticides and synthetic fertilisers that are toxic chemicals that kill the earthworms. There's also an invasive flatworm from New Zealand that's decimating all our earthworms as well, so that's something to look out for. So believe it or not, earthworms are a keystone species, meaning that they've got an enormous impact on the natural environment and a critical role in helping it all run. Less worms means less food for a vast array of different bird species, small mammals and even invertebrates, which are already facing a host of different problems. But even more significantly than that, a decline in earthworms means poorer soil, and poorer soil has a detrimental impact right across the board. So please help these guys out by not using any synthetic fertiliser, pesticides or herbicides, and if you can, keep any exposed soil covered with like an organic mulch. It's like a leaf litter or manure, something like that. And don't dig unless you really have to. Till next time, I'll see you later, you little rascals. Come on, little fella. Can't be on the road, get squished. Oh, come on. Yeah, I'll just put you over here.